What, Pastor, is this thing you call unwavering faith? Unwavering faith is that thing that I say is that never moving or looking away from the assurance of things hoped for, as well as the conviction of your reality, because God backs his promise. Now, I want you to tell your neighbor, God backs his promise. Now, you can't build faith unless you're able to say God backs his promise. So you can build salvation because that's you saying, I accept you, Jesus. But you can't rock the world until you can say God backs his promise. Salvation gets you to heaven. When you got unwavering faith, it gets eternity to you. So, Pastor, you gave us a new word. Show us where it is in the Bible. I'm glad you asked me. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse number 1. In Hebrews 11, verse number 1, it's the chapter where God takes ordinary people like you and I, and all the way through the Bible, and he shows you how ordinary people become extraordinary, faith-driven, unwavering people. And he defines it now faith. In Hebrews chapter 1, on the screen it says what now faith is. Now faith is what? The assurance or the title deed or confirmation. You saw that in my definition for unwavering faith. It says of things hoped for or divinely guaranteed. God's trying to give you a divine guarantee that if he said it, it's a done deal. Unwavering faith is a divine guarantee from heaven. And the evidence of things not seen or the conviction of their realities, faith comprehends as a fact that what cannot be experienced by physical sense. So the definition I gave you is based on Hebrews chapter 11 and also based on Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. Let's read Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23 together. It says, let us hold fast the confession of what our hope without. So we're talking about having unwavering faith because over the course of time, generations have wavered. So if we're wavering, and the Bible said, don't waver, then we need to learn how to not waver. If we're going to get the attention of eternity, he said, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. For he who promised is, and so in the definition I gave you, it says what? God keeps his promise. So let's learn from Abram, because Abram was just like us. Abram made a lot of mistakes. He was imperfect. He did a lot of, if you read his story, his life story, he was imperfect. Now, let me put a pause here for station identification, because I want you to understand the book of Hebrews chapter 11 wasn't supposed to be Hebrews chapter 11 with a period. It was supposed to be a comma. The comma was that we were supposed to learn from all of those faith heroes, from Esther, from Abram, from Moses, from all of these people, from Rahab, from all these people, and then you were supposed to now tell your story to your generation. See, it wasn't supposed to be that, like TC brought a young man, a kid, what's that young man name? Dylan. How old is Dylan? 8 years old. So Dylan was at 8:30 service. And Dylan, I asked Dylan, hey, Dylan, do you know who Abraham was? He said, no, I didn't know who Abraham was. So we're trying to force Dylan, an 8-year-old, to know Abraham. But I said, do you know Mr. T.C. Amos? He said, yeah. So T.C.'s supposed to be walking in unwavering faith. So when Dylan see that, he says that I'm connected to a man who's connected to God. And his story of unwavering faith is a story like Abraham. We're trying to get generations back to Abraham because we won't get generations back to us. All right, so let's say it again. So then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So here's our question that we ask. What are you listening to? Next question. What is God saying to you through his word? Exactly what Abraham wanted to prove to us. That he had to journey, he had to develop it. Unwavering faith just didn't happen. He had to develop it. You think he didn't want to go back home? You think he didn't want to go back to the food he was eating? He's eating Canaanite food when he goes to the Canaanite area. He's never ate that before. All this is happening to him, but he understands to have unwavering faith, I have to follow divine instruction. What instruction is God giving you that you haven't been following? But you want his results, but you won't follow. Some of you guys are using age to disqualify God's promises. I'm too young, I'm too old. Ladies and gentlemen, age was never part of God's plan for your life. Age was a cultural thing. Age was something that happened because of sin. But age don't determine who you really are. Who you really are, unwavering faith men and women who, if God told you to move when you're 40 and 50 and 60 and 65 and 70 and 80 and 90, Moses, you're 120 and you never had cataracts. 120 and you're going up and down the mountain at 120, up and down the mountain, 120. Don't have no aches, no pain, 120 years old, up and down the mountain, because somewhere Moses did not hear God say that age determines your destiny. So here, I want you to be able to understand that God's looking for some unwavering people who stop using age as an excuse.